You were no stranger to challenges, but nothing could have prepared you for this one. As a project manager at Gion Enterprises, you had built a reputation as someone who could handle high pressure situations with grace and precision. Your ability to stay calm under stress was one of the reasons Mr. Gion, the company CEO, had personally requested to meeting you with that day. But the proposition he presented was something far beyond the scope of usual talks. Sitting in Mr. Jones' grand office with the floor of ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city skyline, you listened as he explained his concern for the son Jungkook. He was a man of few words, yet the worry in his voice was palpable. Why, Mr. Jian began, his eyes searching yours for understanding. You have been with this company for a few years now, and and I have always admired your work ethic and your ability to remain composed in difficult situations. That's why I'm asking for you something personal. You shifted slightly in your seat, unsure of where this was going. Of course, Mr. Jian, how can I help? It's about my son Jungkook, he said, his tone softening. He's been struggling with anger management for a while now. It's affecting his relationships, his work, and well, everything. I have tried everything therapy, counseling, but nothing seems to help. I am at my wit's end. You nodded, not quite understanding how this related to you. I have noticed how you handle conflicts and how you manage to bring calm to even the most chaotic situation, he continued. I believe that your influences could be exactly what Jungkook needs. Your breath caught in your throat. Was he suggesting what you thought he was? Mr. Jian, are you asking me too? Yes, he confirmed, his expression serious but hopeful. I am asking you to consider judging him. Not just to calm him down, but to help him see the value of controlling his temper, to show him what it means to connect with someone on a deeper level. I believe you could make a real difference in his life. The request was as surprising as it was shouting. You respected Mr. Jian immensely, and the thought of helping someone in need resonated with you. But this was different, personal, complicated. You had your own reason for avoiding relationships stemming from a heartbreak that had left you wary of letting anyone too close. I don't know. You hesitated, searching for the right words. I'm not sure if I am the right person for this. I would want to make things worse. Ryan, I would not ask you if I did not believe in your ability to help him, Mr. Jones said earnestly. I am not expecting miracles, but I think you could be a positive influence in his life. Just meet him, see how you feel. After a moment of silence, you finally nodded. I will meet him. You agreed, still uncertain but willing to at least give it a try. You arranged to meet Jungkook at a small upscale cafe now for its privacy. As you waiting at a corner table, you try to calm the nervous floating in your stomach. This was not a typical work meeting, it was something entirely different, and from what you had heard, Jungkook was not going to make it easy. When he finally arrived, you recognized him immediately. He was strikingly handsome, with dark hair that formed his face perfectly and eyes that held a certain intensity. But there was a coldness in his expression as he approached, and the tension in his posture was unmistakable. Ryan, he asked, his voice flat as he slid into the seat across from him. You smiled, hoping to raise the tension. Yes, it's nice to meet you, Jungkook. He did not return the smile. My dad said you wanted to meet. What's this about? The directness of his question caught you off God, but you quickly compose yourself. I am here because I think we could get to know each other better. You said choosing your words carefully. Your father mentioned that you might need someone to talk to, someone who understands. Jungkook's expression hardened. So this is about my dad, he muttered. He muttered. His tone looked with innocence. I don't need a babysitter, and I definitely don't need someone trying to fix me. I am not here to fix you, you said calmly, meeting his gaze. I'm just here to listen. Maybe we could start with that. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed over his chest, clearly skeptical. Listen to what my issues. He scoffed. You don't even know me. You could see the walls he had bullied around himself, the defensive ends that masked his vulnerability. You are right. I don't know you agree, but I had like to if you are willing to give me a chance. For a moment, Jungkook did not say anything. Then, with a sign, he shook his head. I don't see how this is going to help, but if it will give, it will get my dad off my back. Fine, we can talk. It was not exactly a warm invitation, but it was a start. You spent the next hours trying to engage him in conversations, though it was clear that Jungkook was not interested in opening up. He was polite but distant, answering your questions with short, clipped responses. Ever now and then his temper flared over minor things, the noise in the cafe, the slow service, but you remained patient, letting him express his frustration without reacting to it. As the meeting ended, you could not help but feel a little disheartened. Jungkook was clearly dealing with a lot, but he was also determined to keep everyone at arm's length. Still, you had made a promise to Mr. Jian, and you were not going to give up after just one meeting. Thanks for meeting with me. You said as you both stood to leave. I know this is not easy, but I hope we can talk again sometimes. Jungkook hesitated, then nodded slightly. Yeah, maybe, he said, his tone softer than before. We will see. Over the next few weeks, you continued to meet with Jungkook. Each time you approached him with patience and understanding, never pushing him to open up more than he was comfortable with. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. It was during one of your meetings at a quiet park that you first glimpsed the real Jungkook's beneath the defensive exterior. You were walking along a tree-lined path, the sound of birds and rustling leaves filling the silence between you when Jungkook suddenly stopped. I don't get why you are doing this, he said, his voice tined with confusion. Why you are wasting your time on someone like me? You turned to face him, seeing the uncertainty in his eyes. I don't see it as a waste of time, you replied gently. I see it as getting to know someone who's going through a tough time. We all need someone to talk to, even if it's just to vent. Jungkook stared at you for a moment as if trying to figure out whatever you were being sincere. Then, almost reluctantly, he began to talk not just about the things that annoyed him, but about the deeper issue that had been winning on his mind. It's like I am always angry, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper, at everything and everyone, and I don't even know why half the time. It's like there's this pressure, to be perfect, to live up to everyone's expectations, and when I can't, I just lose it. You listened intently, nodded in understanding. That sound really difficult. You said softly, "It's a lot to carry on your own." Yeah, well, that's how it is, he said bitterly. Everyone accepts so much from me, but no one ever asks if I can handle it. Your heart ached for him. You could see how much he was struggling, how the weight of expectations had driven him to the edge. It's okay to ask for help, Jungkook, you said gently. You don't have to go through this alone. He looked away, his jaw clenching as he fought to keep his emotions in check. "I don't need help," he muttered. "I just need to be better." "That's a load to put on yourself," you said, taking a step closer. "It's okay to take things one step at a time. No one expects you to be perfect." For the first time, Jungkook did not have to retort. Instead, he simply nodded, his expression softening as he let your words sink in. From the day one things began to change between you, Jungkook started to open up more, sharing bits and places of his life that he had kept hidden from everyone else. You learned about his love for art, how he would spend hours sketching or painting to calm his mind. You discovered his passion for music, how he would lose himself in the rhythm of a song, finding solace in the melodies when words failed him. These were sides of Jungkook that few people ever saw, and you felt honored that he trusted you enough to reveal them. As you spent more time together, Jungkook began to relax around you. He sit had moments when his temper flared, but they were less frequent and less intense. He no longer saw you as someone trying to fix him, but as a friend who genuinely cared about his well being. This shift in your relationship brought you closer, and you found yourself looking forward to your meeting with him. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, you and Jungkook decided to grab dinner together at a small restaurant near his apartment. The place was cozy with dim lights and soft music playing in the background. As you sat across from each other, you could see the exhaustion in Jungkook's eyes, but there was also a sense of calm that had not been there before. "Thanks for tonight," he said as the waiter brought your food. "I needed this." Your smile, taking a sip of your drink. "You don't have to thanks me. I enjoy spending time with you." Jungkook looked down at his plate, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You are one of the few people who does," he said quietly. "Most people can't handle my mood swings." "I don't mind them," you said honestly. "Everyone has their struggles, and I am not here to judge you. I am here to support you, Jungkook." He looked up, meeting your gaze for a moment. He seemed at a loss for words. Then he reached across the table, his hand hesitantly covering yours. "I don't know what I had do without you, Ryan," he admitted, his voice filled with the um, vulnerability you had not heard before. "You have been too patient with me, more than I deserve." You squeeze his hand gently, your heart swelling of his words. "You deserve kindness and understanding just like anyone else," you said softly, "and I am glad I can be here for you." Jungkook's eyes softened as he held your gaze, and for a moment the world outside the small restaurant seemed to disappear. It was just the two of you, connected in a way that felt deeper than anything you had ever experienced. As the evening went on, you talking about everything and nothing. Your favorite movies, your childhood memories, your dreams for the future. Jungkook laughed more than you had ever seen him laugh, and you found yourself falling for him more with each passing moment. Despite the challenges, despite the temper, there was something undeniable special about him, and you could not help but be drawn to it. But as the night came to an end, a lingering doubt began to settle in your mind. You cared about Jungkook deeply, but you could not ignore the fact that his temper was still an issue. He had made progress. What if you was not strong enough to handle it? Your doubts only grew in the days that followed. Jungkook noticed your hesitance, and although you tried to hide it, he was too protective not to see that something was wrong. One evening, as you sat in his apartment watching a movie together, he finally confronted you. Ryan, what's going on? He asked, pushing the movie and turning to face you. You have been distant lately. Did I do something? He shook your head quickly, not wanting to worry him. No, it's nothing like that. I have been thinking a lot. Jungkook spoke for it in concern, thinking about what? You took a deep breath, knowing you could not avoid the conversation any longer about us. You admitted about whatever. I'm really the right person to help you. His expression starked, and you could see the familiar tension returning to his posture. Why would not you be? He asked, his voice tight. It's not that I don't want to be. You need to explain. It's just I care about you so much, Jungkook. But I am sick. But I am scared. What if something happens? What if you get angry and I can't handle it? I don't want to make things worse for you. Jungkook's jaw clenched, and you could see the storm being in his eyes. So what? We are thinking about leaving, he asked, his voice rising. Just because you are scared. That's not what I am saying. You started, but he cut you off. Then what are you saying, Ryan? He demanded, standing up from the couch. That I am too messed up for you. That you are better off without me. Jungkook, please, you pleaded, standing as well. I'm not saying that at all. I am just trying to be honest with you. I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to hurt myself either. His eyes flashed with anger, and for a moment you treated he might lash out, but then, just as quickly as the anger had fled, it was replaced by something else, something that broke your heart to see. Maybe you are right, he said quietly, his voice trembling. Maybe you should just go. I don't want to drag you down with me, Jungkook. No, you said, reaching for him, but he stepped back, avoiding your touch. Just go, Ryan, he repeated, his eyes shining with unshed tears. Before I do something I will regret. Your heart shuddered at his word, but you knew there was nothing more you could say in that moment. So with tears in your own eyes, you grabbed your things and left. The sound of the door closing behind you echoing in your ears. The days that followed were some of the hardest you had ever experienced. You missed Jungkook's stability, but more than that, you were confused with guilt. You had promised to help him, to be there for him, and yet you had walked away when things got tough. You could not help but wonder if you had made a mistake, if you should have stayed and fought for your relationship instead of running from it. Meanwhile, Jungkook was grappling with his own demons. Without you, the anger he had worked so hard to control began to resurface, and he found himself struggling to keep it in check. But in the Midst of his pain, he realized something important. He did not want to be the person he had been before. He did not want to push people away, especially not you. And so, for the first time in his life, he made a decision to seek help, not just for you, but for himself. A few days later, you were surprised to receive a call from Mr. Jian. He asked if you could meet him for lunch. Despite your internal hesitation, you agreed. You awed him an explanation at the very least. When you arrived at the restaurant, Mr. Jian greeted you warmly, but you could see the concern in his eyes. And I have been worried about you, he said as you both sat down. I know things have been difficult with Jungkook. You nodded, feeling a lump from in your throat. I'm sorry, Mr. Jian. I tried to help him, but I don't know. I am the right person for him. He gave you a small, understanding smile, and you have done more for Jungkook than anyone else ever has. You have helped him see that he does not have to face his struggles alone, and because of you, he's made a decision to get the help he needs. Your eyes widened in surprise. What do you mean? Jungkook has started therapy. Mr. Jian explained he realized that he needs to work on himself before the can be the person he wants to be for himself and for you. He's finally taking responsibility for his anger, and I believe that's because of your influence. Tears filled your eyes at the news. You had never accepted Jungkook to take such a step, but knowing that he had made the decision on his own filled you with hope. He asked me to give you this, Mr. Jones said, handing you a letter with your trembling hands. You opened it and began to read. Dear Ryan, I'm sorry for the way things ended between us. I know I hurt you and I can't express how much I regret that. But being apart from you made me realize something important. I don't want to be the person I was before. I don't want to push people away of or let my anger control me. I have started therapy and it's going to be a long road, but I am committed to making things right, not just for you, but for myself. I want to be better and I want to be someone you can be proud of. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope that one day you might be able to give me another chance. Until then, I will be working on myself and I will be waiting for the day when I can see you again and show you the person I am becoming. Thank you for believing in me when I did not believe in myself. You have changed my life in ways I never thought possible, and I will never forget that. Sincerely, Jungkook. You folded the letter carefully, holding it closer to your chest. I never wanted to give up on him. You whispered, tears slipping down your cheeks. I just did not know if I was strong enough. Mr. Jian reached across the table, giving your hand a comforting squeeze. Strength is not about never having doubts, Ryan. It's about pushing through them and finding the courage to keep going. And you have shown more strength than you realize. You nodded, taking a deep breath. I want to be there for him, Mr. Jian. I want to support him in this journey. A warm smile spread across his face. Then, don't waste any more time and go to him. I know he's been waiting for you. Taking a deep breath, you knocked on the door. A moment later, it opened, and there he was, standing before you with a look of surprise and hope in his eyes. Ryan Jungkook breathed as if he could not quite believe you were there. Hi, you said softly, your voice trembling with emotion. Can I come in? You walked into the bedroom, feeling a wave of familiarity wash over you. It had not changed much since you were last there, but there was something different about the atmosphere, something lighter, most hopeful. As you turned to face him, you could see the nervousness in Jungkook's eyes. He opened his mouth to speak, but you beat him to it. I got your letter. You said holding it up. Thanks you for being so nice with me, Jungkook. He nodded, his gaze dropping to the floor. I mean every word, Ryan. I know I have a lot of work to do, but I am willing to do whatever it takes. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I wanted you to know that I am trying. You took a step closer to him, your eyes searching his face. I do forgive you, Jungkook, and I am so proud of you for taking this step. It's not easy to admit when you need help, but you did, and there's something to be proud of. His eyes met yours, filled with a mix of relief and graduate. You are really something, you know that, he said with a small, genius smile. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You smiled back, feeling your heart lighten. You are worth it, Jungkook. I would not be here if I did not believe that. He took your hand in his, holding them tightly. I'm going to be better, Ryan, for you, for myself. I want to be someone you can rely on, not someone who drags you down. I believe you, you said, squeezing his hand gently, and I am here for you, Jungkook. We will get through this together. For the first time in what felt like forever, you saw genius hope in Jungkook's eyes. He pulled you into a tight embrace, holding you as if you were the most precious thing in his world. And as you wrapped your arms around him, you knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, you would face them together.